Like, imagine for all of you people that have had like dogs or anything like that growing up, like imagine depriving your dog of their daily walk. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Welcome to the Risen Fallen podcast. I am your host, Mark Henriksen, and if you are brand new to this show, then what you can expect is open and authentic conversations about things like mental health and self-development and how to get your life moving in the right direction. If you're not feeling good about where you are right now, if you're not feeling good about the place that you woke up, the person that you woke up as, at least having the confidence knowing that you are getting, I've said at least a few times, but at least one step closer to who you'd like to be in the future, the life that you'd like to lead, etc. And so, whether you're brand new to this podcast or not, then I just want to say thank you very much for coming and joining in, supporting the show, supporting the journey, and supporting the idea of making yourself better every single day and lifting other people up along the way as well. And so, thank you for joining me here in my living room today. If you're watching the video of this, you can see I'm not in my office. I'm not sitting at my desk chilling out in the living room. I had this set up out here already, so I figured why not just kind of chill out on the couch and have this little conversation. So here we are. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are doing well. Good morning if you're listening to this when the podcast version drops in the morning. And good evening if you're listening to this at night when the YouTube version drops. However, you're consuming this. Welcome to the show. Hope you're doing well. Happy Monday. It is getting colder and colder here in Vancouver. I don't know where you guys are living. If you're living around the Vancouver area, you know it's getting a little bit chillier around here. Probably getting colder where you are as well, but we're making do. We're getting our cozier clothes on. Just to remind you guys, you can get some Risen Fallen hoodies at risenfallen.com. But doing well. I wanted to bring up a topic today and just chat about it really quick because I think that it doesn't take too long to talk about this. I think it's kind of something that maybe you've thought of or thought about, or maybe this is just something that you'll hear it and you'll be like, wow, I guess that's kind of true. Or maybe you'll think I'm an idiot. But I was reading this book recently. I think it was The Psychology of Money. And it was talking about, something kind of that I've discussed on this podcast before, but it talked about it in a different perspective. And, I've talked about how this world, the society that we live in, the way that our current lifestyle kind of is for the most part is not really conducive to creating happy human beings. And what I mean by that is, a lot of the time our lives or our lifestyle would have demanded a lot more physical exertion from us. It would have, having some exercise on a daily basis, some rigorous exercise on a daily basis, whether that's working on a farm or building something or creating, like making wicker baskets, making things around the house, cleaning your house, like working. For the most part, like we would have had like very athletic, like exercise driven lives. Like I'm talking about for the time when our brains and bodies were developing. If you believe in evolution or you believe in anything like that, for the most part of human existence, life has been very, formed around, our lifestyles were formed around, moving consistently throughout the day. And, I've talked about that before and the importance of rigorous exercise to compensate for the fact that most of us sit down for, hours throughout the day, like cumulatively. Even if you work in construction, you're sitting in traffic, or once you get home, you're sitting on the couch or whatever you do, sitting on the bus, sitting on, like I'm doing right now, just chilling out. And, to compensate for how much rest we get and how much kind of time we spend sitting down, you always hear sitting is the new smoking. It's important for us to include rigorous exercise that's challenging for us on a regular basis to still stimulate the same dopamine systems and the serotonin and all the different hormones that get released, cortisol and like things like that when you put stressors upon the body physically. But this book, Psychology of Money, was discussing kind of something in a different way as well, and I think that it applies so much to mental health. It's kind of funny that this book is about money, but I had a huge takeaway in regards to mental health from it. And again, that kind of shows the importance of reading and broadening your horizons and finishing a book when you start it, even if you find it to be a bit dry, because there's always something that you'll be able to take away from it. Even if you think, during the first half of the book, you're like, this sucks. Like, I mean, you set out to start something, so you should probably finish it, but that's just kind of the way I think about it. That way you're not training your brain that, it's acceptable to just quit on things that are boring. But that's another conversation for another time. The point I'm trying to bring up, the part of this book that I really enjoyed, that I felt was super relatable to this topic, is that it talked about how the workforce has shifted, mainly for the most part of history. Human beings would have been doing laborious jobs, like I said. And so, for example, I'm a carpenter. I do home renovations. And, when I finish work, I put my hammer down, I put my tools down, the saw, everything like that. And then the same tools that I use for work on a daily basis, I either leave in a toolbox or leave them. That's it. Once work is done, the work is done. And so even though there's things that I might be thinking about with work, things that might be stressing me out with work, whether that be trying to find a solution for a customer, a homeowner, trying to figure out how we can achieve what they'd like their house to look like and still have it meet code and be structurally sound, or, dealing with paperwork, whatever it could be. There's always, things that I have to think about or problem solve, or that might stress me out or might excite me. And so I'm still thinking about work, but I'm not using the same tools. I'm not physically working. And so it allows my brain to work and my body to rest while I'm not at work, right? And then the opposite is true as well. While I'm working, my body's working and my brain kind of, sometimes you get into a flow state and you're not thinking about a lot of the stressors in life. You're just kind of going with the flow. You get into a groove and, it's kind of fun building things and it can be very mentally relaxing sometimes, to be honest. And so, well, the point I'm trying to say is, when work is finished, the tools are put down, and for the rest of the day, there's a clear separation between work and not work. Whereas, the majority of jobs nowadays, a lot of us are working maybe in a management position, an HR position, a sales position, a fucking marketing position, maybe like administration position, a librarian, like a teacher, maybe like a dental hygienist or anything like that. Like kind of, I guess maybe dental hygienists, they use physical tools as well. But like maybe like a lawyer or, those types of things where, maybe you work in sales or marketing or anything like that. You do a job where your tools that you're using are your brain and your words. You're consistently thinking of new ideas, thinking of new solutions, contemplating problems, dealing with other people, thinking about their problems, trying to find a way to communicate your issues to them or your solutions to them. And the tools that you use are your brain and your mouth. And, it's like communication and thinking and problem solving. And so since that's the case, there's no clear separation between, working and not working. So whether you're in the office or not, you're always available. Your cell phone's on you all the time. You've got your notifications on. Whenever a customer texts you, you're like, well, that's money. I can't ignore that. Or you kind of, on your drive home, you're thinking about the problems that you have at work the same way that you'd be thinking about them whether you're at work or not. And you're consistently trying to problem solve. And what that does to us is it allows the barrier between work time and non-work time to be so paper thin. And it creates this life of stress because we have this consistent mental stimulation of, work from the second you wake up till the second you go to bed. All that mentally consumes us is the stress of work, or how am I going to do this, or how am I going to do that? And you're kind of almost exhausting the same system consistently all the time. And I think that if it were the opposite, it would be so clear how unbalanced and unhealthy that truly could be. Like, imagine if you had to work like a physically laborious job from the second you wake up until the second you go to bed. You had to just like dig holes or do something like that. And you could clearly see how even within one day, that would cause physical exhaustion. But if you had to do that for like days and days and weeks on end and months on end, years on end, where consistently you are physically exhausting yourself and stimulating yourself physically all fucking day, you could see how quickly you would get so physically exhausted and how that would take a toll on you mentally. But it's more difficult for us to think of it in the opposite perspective, where from the second you wake up until the second you go to bed, you're consistently using your brain thinking about work. You're thinking about, because your job is not physically demanding, it's more mentally demanding and emotionally demanding. You're then using those same systems from the second you wake up until, when you get home and you're dealing with your family, maybe your wife, your kids, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mother, your father, your whatever, your coworkers. It's all the exact same. It's all the same systems at play. The same tools are being used from the second you wake up until the second you go to bed. When your life is consistently mentally demanding on you like that, and you don't have a physical outlet, then you can see how the same way it was on the inverse, you're just exhausting yourself mentally all the time, and then there's no physical exertion or very little physical exertion, and the balance is completely off. It's just all mental exertion and no physical exertion. And so I think that this kind of highlights even more the importance of being able to move on a daily basis. If you have that privilege, if you're able-bodied or whatever your situation is, just to be able to move and exercise on a daily basis is such an important factor for mental happiness and such an important factor for achieving that balance in life, because I just feel like so many of us can get caught in the loop of being sedentary and just kind of sitting down or thinking or, communicating all day. And we forget about the fact that our bodies are built like mammals, like animals, obviously very different, but similar in the sense that we need movement every single day. Like, imagine for all of you people that have had like dogs or anything like that growing up, like imagine depriving your dog of their daily walk, and how like taxing that would be on them, and how anxious and weird they'd feel. They would have all this energy and no way to exert it. They would start misbehaving. They would start chewing things apart. They would start destroying their environment and pissing people off around them. They'd become destructive, and they'd become agitating for everything and everyone around them. And I think that we're no different. So that's kind of all I really wanted to discuss today, just kind of the idea that I was kicking around in my head. I tried talking to Teddy about it, and that kind of helped me think about this idea a little bit better. But I think that this discussion that I just had kind of solidified it for me and kind of just cemented it. And now that I've kind of thought about this and communicated this a few different times. And so there's another little takeaway for the day. Just remembering to communicate your thoughts and the way you think about the world, because the more that you say it, the more that you can kind of get outside perspectives on it, the more you'll actually understand your own thoughts. And so I hope that you guys found this kind of useful or enlightening, or at least kind of brought you a different perspective on it. Maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't, but either way, share it with somebody that you think needs to hear this message. And other than that, I will check you guys on Thursday. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. That's pretty much it. Much love. Peace out. I just finished 75 hard, so that's pretty sick too. Pretty stoked on that. I will probably do an episode on Thursday to talk about that if I don't have an interview lined up. Without further ado, I will let you get on with your day or your evening, whatever it is, what time it is. Much love. Peace out. Love you all. Bye.